Good evening and good morning. Good evening in South America and in Europe, and good morning in Pacific Ocean, so in Fiji. I give the floor to my colleague for this match.
Thank you very much, and really good day, everyone. It's been a day of 8 finals matches. This is the final debate of this day for the Central European time that will be happening from the 8 finals between the University of South Pacific, joining us from Suva, Fiji, and the University of Chile, joining us from Santiago in Chile. Good day to both teams. Thank you very much for joining. It's a pleasure to see you again in this final phase of the competition. So the students already are aware, as well as their coaches, that the topic they will be debating on today is one related to alcohol consumption by athletes and whether or not it should be prohibited during the Olympic Games. As always, we'll find out the allocations of positions shortly. But first, reintroductions of all the participants, starting with University of South Pacific. Ms. Permal, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure being here, and all the best for the matches. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Permal. From University of Chile, Ms. Perez.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda. I'm in second year of law school, and I hope this match is fun for everyone, and I'm very happy to begin the debate with all of you.
Thank you. Welcome. From University of South Pacific, Ms. Lal.
Hello everyone, I'm Kaya. I'm a third year student with USP. Super excited to be here today and good luck to everyone.
Thank you and welcome. From University of Chile, Mr. Rubilar.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Andres Rubilar. I'm a fifth law student. I'm a fifth year law student. And that's all. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome.
Good luck for everyone.
Indeed. Ms. Prakash from University of South Pacific.
Greetings to everyone. My name is Bisha Shalini Prakash. I'm a fourth year law student, and best of luck, guys, for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome. Ms. Silva, University of Chile. Unfortunately, you're muted. Still muted? Yes, you're muted, Ms. Silva.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Constanza Silva. This is my last year on law degree, and I wish luck for everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Silva, and welcome. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all of the 3 judges that will be reviewing your debate, one of whom is present with us today. The 3 judges are grading your matches individually, but perhaps we might already hear some feedback from Mr. Kazi, who's one of the trio and with us today. Mr. Kazi, if you would like to share some encouragement for the students.
Yeah, hi, good morning and good evening, depending on where you are. Yeah, no, I'm very excited to watch this match. As Mr. Lavash mentioned, I took part in the same competition, so, which seems several years ago now. Really, really nice opportunity, and I'd just like to wish all of you the very best of luck. And yeah, I very much look forward to hearing your argumentation and yeah, your arguments really. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And indeed, best of luck to the students. You will be seeing the screen for allocation of the position shortly. If you can just give me a confirmation when you do.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much. So, as always, there are 4 possibilities, 2 for each university. And in a moment, we will know which side will go to which team. right, for today's debate, the against position of the motion will be defended by the team of University of Chile. Therefore, it will be the team from University of South Pacific that will defend the position in favor and argue that alcohol consumption by athletes during the Olympic Games should be prohibited. Whereas the University of Chile's team will argue against this motion and thus that it should not be prohibited. You will now have 5 minutes to finalize your preparations. Feel free to close your cameras, and afterwards it will be the team of University of South Pacific that will open the floor. Thank you, everyone. Your time for final preparation is now over. Just before we start a confirmation of the rules, you will receive visual cues to aid you with your time. A yellow card for 30 seconds left, red card when your speaking time is up. Of course, you can comfortably conclude your sentence. And just a reminder, your speaking times is yours. So just in this form. And without further ado, the University of South Pacific, you now have 4 minutes for your opening statements. Whenever you're ready.
May I confirm that I'm audible?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Greetings to the honorable judges, colleagues, and audience members. We affirm that alcohol consumption by athletes during the Olympic Games should be prohibited. We advance the following arguments. I argue that consuming alcohol can cause irreparable harm to the reputation and image of an Olympic athlete. In doing so, they disregard the moral and contractual obligations as an athlete representing their country. Varonesh will look at the argument of regulating alcohol for the Olympic athletes as a means of facilitating cohesion and collaborating in the biggest global athletic meet. Finally, Visha will examine that alcohol consumption is fraught with physical and mental health challenges which may hinder the performance of an Olympic athlete. The Olympic Games are a prestigious and respected platform for high-performance athletes to represent their respective nations in their specific sport. To ensure standards are met during these games, the International Olympic Committee, or IOC, has guidelines for an athlete's code of conduct, summarized in the Olympic Code of Ethics. In addition, professional athletes may also have agreements with their national sporting agency, which outline their duties as the nation's representative. For instance, Australian athletes are bound by the team membership agreement enacted by the Australian Olympic Committee. According to the Olympic Code of Ethics preamble, Olympic parties serve as role models. This demonstrates that athletes have a duty to meet certain standards of behavior when representing their nations. Displaying intoxicated behavior while at the Olympics as a representative of your respective country certainly does not demonstrate ideal behavior. In the Dutch Yuri van Helder case, the gymnast was expelled from the Rio 2016 Olympics despite making it to the finals. This was because he went out to drink without permission and failed to attend a training session the next day. This conduct was said to breach his obligations to act as a good team member under his athlete agreement with the Netherlands. During this period, media reports like the Dutch News in 2016 also reported him as an, I quote, disgraced gymnast. The importance of reputation is also expressed in the Hongiwad and Australian Olympic Committee case, where the athlete was banned from attending the Olympics because he was involved in a drink and drive case. Here, the arbitral tribunal looked at how his conduct breached the team membership agreement and likely brought disrepute to the agency and his reputation. These examples demonstrate that consuming alcohol and engaging in disorderly behavior can bring disrepute to the athlete themselves and their nation, impacting the overall image of the athlete. In addition to these cases, national level guidelines like Australia's Aspire guidelines and New Zealand's Athlete Code of Conduct 2018 have also enacted values like refraining from alcohol consumption during international games. To conclude, as a representative of their nation, athletes need to be careful with their image and reputation, especially since the Olympics presents them at a global scale. Banning alcohol at the Olympics will not only assist athletes in serving their IOC Code of Ethics guidelines, but will also present a more uniform image of health consciousness. This will also assist the fight against the pervasive and negative impacts of alcohol consumption, which will be further discussed by my colleagues. Thus, alcohol consumption by athletes during the Olympic Games must be banned. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear the opening statement in the against position. University of Chile debate team, you have 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. So, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I'm going to introduce by the against team the topic alcohol consumption by athletes during the Olympic Games should be prohibited. To develop this topic, we should understand what we are talking about when we say Olympics, right? Uh, and what is the Olympics? Is the world's principal sports competition with more of 200 teams representing their countries. This is the massively disseminated through the mass media event, and we know that for a month social networks are filled of millions with publications, photos, videos, etc. Of athletes do inside and outside of competition. For that reason, athletes take care of no expose themselves um, to suffering this damage. Another important definition is about Olympians, right? Or Olympic athletes. An Olympian is an athlete who competes in the Olympic Games, an international athletic competition featuring multiple sporting events between athletes representing their countries. They are high performance athletes who lead a special lifestyle. This is very important because they take care of their health and their diet. They attend the competition with the intention of winning, so they have no incentives to drink alcohol. They have trainers who doesn't allow the alcohol consumption. A third important definition is about alcohol. Alcohol is a psychoactive substance who can make you drunk. It's legalized in the most countries around the world and is widely used in social events. Finally, our main argument is this. Prohibiting alcohol consumption among athletes during the Olympic Games would attempt against their personal freedoms and autonomy. It would suggest a lack of trust in their ability to make responsible choices and could be viewed as a discriminatory. This will infringe upon their rights as individuals and as a specific group within the Olympic community. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. We have now heard the opening statements for both sides. We'll proceed to the rebuttals, starting with the team in favor. University of South Pacific's team, you have 2 minutes.
Distinguished teams, judges, and audience members. I commend my colleagues in the opposing team for presenting their views. However, our team under the affirmative stance disagree with the points raised with respect to alcohol consumption not being prohibited in the Olympic Games. I would like to rebut their argument on the basis that Olympic Games serves as a global platform promoting health and well-being. As my learned opposition mentioned, the Olympics showcases the pinnacle of health and fitness, with athletes representing their nations performing at their best through adherence of a healthy and disciplined lifestyle. Prohibiting alcohol consumption among athletes sends a powerful message against its endorsement, considering the multitude of health and mental risks associated with it, risks of which will be discussed by our third speaker, Ms. Visha Prakash. Moreover, prohibiting alcohol consumption among athletes will foster a high performance and focused environment, preventing disruptions caused by intoxication to fellow athletes and local residents. A prime example happened in the 2016 Rio Olympics, where a USA swimmer, Ryan Lochte, made headlines for vandalizing a gas station in an inebriated state and even getting into an altercation with security staff. The US Olympic Committee banned him for 10 months, along with the forfeiture of bonus money. This case of drunk and disorderly conduct brings disrepute to the Olympic Games. In conclusion, the prohibition of alcohol conveys a message in upholding high standards of health, fitness, fostering a high performance and disciplined state, while refraining from endorsing its consumption. Thank you. That is our submission.
Thank you. Now for the first rebuttal in the against position, University of Chile team, you have 2 minutes.
Am I heard correctly?
Yes, you're audible.
All right, so I will start in 3, 2, 1. Well, hello. First of all, it's necessary to explain something very important here. The other team brings us three main cases or examples of where disorderly conduct has had a negative impact in the Olympics. But the key aspect here is that the three things that they mentioned are crimes: vandalizing, hitting maybe someone, drink and driving, or maybe even just not going to training. Those are things that can happen without alcohol consumption. Those are actually crimes, and that's the problem, not the drinking itself. And that's why in our introduction, we mentioned why athletes are basically a different type of person. They are someone that care very much about their health and their performance, and thus the drinking that we're talking about here is something in their rights, in their freedom to do. Because drinking is not just being drunk in the street or maybe vandalizing something. Drinking alcohol may also be just 1 cup of wine a few days before the competition. And why should we ban that if people are free? Athletes are also human beings, are also fall under the human rights declaration, so they are have a right to freedom, and they don't have and they have the right to be protected against discrimination. So why would this be discrimination? Basically because we are prioritizing, or well, the other team is prioritizing the public image of the Olympics, this message about alcohol that is not the goal of the Olympics, are prioritizing that over basically a human right of freedom, and are putting those needs of images and message over the basically liberties that an athlete has the right to have and to do. We're not talking about vandalizing, we're not talking about disorderly conduct, we're talking about just letting them do the things in private. Not even maybe in the Olympic Village, they can go around in the countries and they can have fun too. I mean, athletes sacrifice a lot. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear the second rebuttal in the paper position. University of South Pacific team, you have 2 minutes.
Firstly, just to confirm that I'm audible.
You are.
Thank you. Firstly, I would like to thank my counterpart colleagues for their argument. However, we respectfully beg to differ. This is because it's crucial to realize that alcohol, in fact, has a negative impact on athletes' well-being and health. According to Dr. James Moragan, whereby he is a leading performance nutritionist, he explained that athletes in intense physical activity and have to make decisions and under pressure should not be consuming alcohol. Quote, put simply, not the betterment for their performance, unquote. This is because consuming alcohol actually impairs the muscle tissues, because there's a certain type of protein that is needed for the muscles to grow and recover. Alcohol reduces that process in the body, that leads to muscle cramps, tissue damages, and lack of recovery. Secondly, dehydration. Alcohol has a diuretic properties whereby it increases the production of urination process, by which it actually imbalances the electrolyte system because it has to take out all the toxins. Dehydration and the imbalance of electrolytes that is needed by the athletes in their performance as they have energy drinks also will imbalance their health. Fourthly, sleep. Usually, we all know that alcohol will put you to drowsiness and sleep, which is true. But however, it doesn't take you to the fourth stage of a sleep cycle, which is known the REM cycle, rapid eye movement, which is so crucial for recovery of the body. Athletes need those type of sleep. Consuming alcohol puts the person to sleep, but not on that cycle. Therefore, it's important to recognize that, and also that nutrition is also evident because of the calories, unnecessary calories, and lack of nutrients, which goes to show that alcohol should be prohibited, as it also aligns with Olympic Charter that explains that under page 12 of the vision that encourage and support measures relating to medical care and health of athletes should be evidenced. Therefore, prohibition of alcohol consumption should be evident on those bases of ground of health and recovery. Thank you.
Thank you. Now for the second rebuttal in the against position. You have 2 minutes.
All right, I will begin in 3, 2, 1. Well, thank you to the other team for their argument. However, there's an important thing to consider here. Alcohol consumption, yes, may be dangerous for a person, maybe endanger the health, but however, the Olympics are a very short period of time. And we're not trying to argument about that all athletes should all train throughout their life. No, this is a specific set of weeks or days where maybe one or two drinks it's not going to do any danger or maybe have any significant changes. But also something important too, athletes, well, are free to do by choices. We will want to maybe have the best performing athletes, but at the end of the day, athletes are persons, and they can make mistakes too that has no relation to alcohol. And maybe if they think that having one beer with their friends is going to be better for their mental health and to calm themselves down, and they would rather choose that over maybe the insignificant amount that it's going to change on their performance, they are allowed to do so because there are people that have freedom of choices. And also the code of the World Anti-Doping Agency already eliminated in Indian alcohol because as a doping substances, and they do that because they ultimately think that it doesn't help their performance. And the Olympics have a right to prohibit and ban things that may help and may create an unfair advantage to other people. But alcohol, it's not going to do that. So it's the person's choice to see what they sacrifice and what they choose to do, even if they are athletes, you know. So at the end of the day, this is a question of about a public image or not an alcohol, because the health elements that the other team tries to argue in the end may be insignificant. One cup of wine, as I said, it's not going to change their performance. It's not going to put them in risk when they lead a healthy lifestyle and any other day. Thank you.
Thank you. We have now entered the conclusion. So starting with the conclusion, in the position in favor, you have 2 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. As our team had affirmatively argued through a closer analysis of case laws, code of ethics, and scientific literature, we strongly advocate for prohibition of alcohol consumption by athletes at the Olympics for the following reasons. Firstly, it may negatively impact an athlete's image and reputation as a role model. Secondly, it aligns with the Olympics' global image as a promoter of health, discipline, and well-being. Thirdly, the negative scientific impacts of alcohol on an athlete's ability and well-being, which is also agreed by the opposition counterpart in the rebuttals. As our first speaker highlighted, the Olympic Games serves as a prestigious platform governed by codes of conduct and ethics. Consequently, all athletes must adhere to these codes to serve as role models. The incident of Ryan Lochte's drunk and disorderly conduct of vandalism at the Rio 2016 Olympics and the case of Jean Ward versus Australian Olympic Committee demonstrates where alcohol consumption and subsequent disorderly conduct committed by the athlete violated team membership agreements and ethics, which can tarnish both an athlete and a nation's reputation. Moreover, as our third speaker elaborated, the International Olympic Committee cannot overlook the significant health effects of alcohol on an athlete and how it deviates from the Olympics mission stated within the Olympic Charter on page 13 relating to the health of athletes. Therefore, in light of the above, it is prudent to prohibit alcohol consumption among athletes as this safeguards the Olympics' ideals, reputation, and the athletes' well-being. That is our submission. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now for University of Chile, for your conclusion, you have 2 minutes.
Well, in conclusion, prohibiting alcohol consumption during the Olympic Games raises significant concerns regarding personal freedom and autonomy. Athletes are responsible adults capable of making decisions about their own lives and health. They undergo rigorous training and have coaches who are well aware of their own limits. Restricting their ability to consume alcohol could be perceived as an intrusion on their individual autonomy and a violation of their personal freedoms, which are in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Additionally, such a prohibition may be viewed as a discriminatory against athletes, treating them differently from other persons. The opposite team mentioned the case of Ryan Lott as an argument, but this athlete was indeed sanctioned with the actual United States rules. Some years later, he acknowledged that he has issues with alcoholism and he had undergo treatment. His case is regrettable but exceptional and goes beyond the scope of this debate. In light of this consideration, it's essential to strike this balance between respecting personal freedoms and ensuring the integrity of safety of Olympic competition. In a sense, safeguarding the personal freedoms and autonomy of athletes while balancing the integrity of safety Olympic competition. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We have now concluded the part of the debate during which you're graded. You can relax. You're no longer graded after this part. If I can just say, well done. What a good job, everyone, for the debate, for concluding it, for being in the final phase of the tournament. I would just like to say that just by getting into the final phase, you have also secured a spot for your university should they wish to participate in the next year already for the 16 spots which are reserved. Really, so congratulations, you have done a great job over the course of the debate so far, and this one too. As always, we'll do first a little bit of feedback session, starting with the participants, and then if Mr. Kazi wants to share some feedback with the students, that's also one of the possibilities to utilize outside of the scorecards, of course. So perhaps starting with the University of South Pacific, Ms. Prakash, how did you find the debate, the topic? Did you perhaps do a different approach in preparation compared to your group phase?
Okay, firstly, the topic, when I initially read it, it's like, why is it too simplistic? But as I was doing research and everything, it just goes to show like it had a lot of effort to be taken. And given that while we have our assignments due, that is like 30%, and so like coursework and everything. So like this was like one of those moments like I felt like true pressure, like intense pressure. But nonetheless, what I learned from it, that how to work effectively, the approaches that I use, promoter effects, everything that I could. But it's just like, it goes to show that if I've been through this, I think I can do better now. Like you have done like one of my worst parts. So like, yeah, so I've become more adaptable to these pressures and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Prakash. Thank you for sharing. From University of Chile, Ms. Perez, how did you find the debate, the topic, and perhaps are you also in your exam season right now?
Yes, actually, I had a test and I just got out of the test in time to run to my house and to be here. And so it's been quite an eventful week, at least last week to me, and the rest, I think 3 weeks that's following now. So yeah, I completely relate to what you just said, because yeah, it's just a big challenge to be here and to prepare and try to bring information and arguments worth of this debate, but also not fall back to your own responsibilities in university. So yeah, but no, it was actually really fun because I am a swimmer myself. So as an athlete, I love all the debates that are about athletes because it doesn't come up too much. I think these discussions about law in the sport world are a little bit new. I mean, I'm sure it has existed since there is sport, but it's not like a mainstream thing or thing that many people talk about. So any instance like this has been really fun to me, and also the investigation has been the most entertaining to me out of all the rounds so far. So I was really waiting for this debate to begin, and I'm also happy with what we heard because we had similar examples as well. One or two of the examples that the other two mentioned we also had, so it goes to show that it's a very small world, but very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Ms. Perez. Ms. Lal from University of South Pacific, how did you find the debate, the topic in particular, and the interactions you've had over the matches so far?
Yeah, definitely agree with Amanda. I think this area of law is relatively new and very niche. So finding case laws was a bit difficult, I would say, especially for both sides. So I think in terms of our approaches, we had similar arguments on both sides. And yeah, I think overall, I've really enjoyed the interactions I've had through this debate. All teams have presented very well arguments. And yeah, I've learned a lot. So thank you and good job to the opposing team.
Thank you, Ms. Lal. Ms. Silva from University of Chile, how did you find the debate, the topics, and perhaps is there anything particular you would wish to share with the other team on the match today?
Well, it was very interesting talk this topic with Amanda. Well, she's an athlete, she competes, and she's part of the team that represents the university. So she knows a lot of this topic. But it was very difficult to think about this topic beyond the issues with the local athletes, with the football players, for example, because they football is a very popular sport here in Latin America, but the football players are very good for alcohol. So I think that we were thinking, oh yeah, that would be good. So we could be more professionalism in the football teams.
Right, so it's a topical theme for everyone. Also with the Olympics that are happening this year in Paris. The same question to Mr. Permal. How did you find the debate, the topic, and perhaps anything in particular you would wish to share for today's match?
Hello, everyone. Firstly, I found the topic very interesting because it really is a two-sided argument, you know. And while we did have points, substantiating them with case laws and scientific literature, we found it quite interesting, and because now we have a better outlook on how things should function at the Olympic level, given with athletes. And yeah, as my previous speakers had mentioned, a lot of our points were quite similar as well. So yeah, I commend my counterparts in University of Chile for coming up with good points as well. And it was a pleasure debating with you.
Thank you, Mr. Permal. On that note, I would like to give the floor to one of the three judges who is with us today on the call, albeit it's quite late in Europe right now. Mr. Kazi, thank you for joining us today. Is there anything you could already share with the students?
Hi, yeah. First of all, yeah, it is a bit late, but this was actually a surprisingly fun activity to be doing at this late hour. So first of all, I just wanted to thank everyone for a really, really fun match to observe. I did indeed have some feedback. I was busy scribbling in my notebook the entire time. And some of them may be more compliments, some of them may be more feedback for the future. So forgive me if I mix them up a little. And I'll try to be concise, short and sweet. And of course I won't be naming any names or naming any universities at this point. It will be more general things that I just observed. So I think one of the biggest things when it comes to debating these situations is that, you know, there is a huge time crunch. We understand that that's one of the biggest time pressures. You know, the clock is running and you have some very juicy arguments you want to get out in the air. And so you may have this tendency to speak a bit fast. And I think that's one of the things which often loses one the most points. So it's very, very important to, you know, be calm and composed. And I think for the most part, most of you did a very good job with, you know, speaking at a relaxed pace. So, you know, try not to stuff 5 arguments within 4 minutes. If you have, let's say, 4 minutes for your main thing, make it 2, 3 arguments, which you maybe elaborate on a little bit, but then move on. Of course, there will be more things you may want to say about an argument, but maybe those are things that you can introduce in the rebuttal because they may have been brought up by the other team. So I think, pace is very important, speaking as a leisurely pace. So that also gives the impression that you're very much in control of the whole moment of the whole situation. And yeah, so staying calm, composed, having a very good pace. Sometimes it may feel that I used to have the same thing. I used to get feedback that I spoke too fast in this debate tournament when I did it 4 years ago. And I think I really realize the value of that now, because sometimes when you're speaking, you may feel like if you speak too slow, the audience is getting a bit bored or losing focus, but actually the contrary is true. If you speak slowly and clearly and really elucidate and enunciate all the words properly, give emphasis where you need to give emphasis, people will actually be more willing to listen to you. And as long as you have the changes and variations in your pitch and your style and your delivery, people will be listening to you. So don't feel pressured as if you're wasting our time. So that's one thing about the pace. Then I think one thing which was very good, which I noticed, was the importance of being respectful. So thanking your opponent when you start your rebuttal, perhaps, or thanking them for their arguments, or saying, referring to them as my learned colleague or my learned friend, things like that. These formalities. Again, this may be a personal thing. I personally like that, but then again, I'm very much a person for formalities. It may be the case that other people prefer other things. And on the topic of formalities, I think it's also important to not be too colloquial. It is a legal debate at the end, so a certain level of formality must be maintained. So when you come to filler words like, or right, or yeah, all that stuff, try to maybe just fill that space with silence, maybe like a dramatic pause or some other word which isn't too conversational, because you're having a debate and not a conversation. So just keep that in mind. I think something which both teams did really, really well, which I found very impressive, was the appealing to authorities. So when you talk about a case that has happened before the Olympic Committee, or these real life examples, I think they really, really, really help boost your case and build the strength of your arguments. So that was very, very good. I very much enjoyed that. I also, whether you're talking about the anti-doping agency or whether you're talking about the Olympic Committee, I think it's also very good when you use other sources which are maybe not strictly legal, even though this is a legal debate, using other sources, such as, I think one of the teams mentioned a nutritionist, I think these are very, very good things. These, it shows that you're willing to go beyond the strictly legal sphere and actually come up with arguments out of the box. So also very good. All right. Then I think, yeah, in the conclusion, I think both of you did a very, very good job summing up the things in a very clear manner, summing up your arguments. So, it's also just reverberate to the judge's mind at the very end, because a lot of arguments are exchanged. Obviously, it's very good to wrap that up completely. And while on that, I think there's maybe the second last thing I have. Signposting, I think, very, very important. So whether it's your opening speech or whether it's your rebuttal, I think if you say firstly, secondly, thirdly, I think that makes things very, very clear. And the other thing which I think is very valuable to do is a lot of teams, and I think, a lot of the debates I participated in, teams often in the rebuttal phase, they use the rebuttal as a phase, as a sort of platform to just bring in new argumentation, or maybe just repeat what they've already been saying, and they don't take the opportunities to actually rebut what the other team has said. And I think that's something you guys did very, very well, when you actually refer to what your learned opponent has said, and you say, well, contrary to what my opponent said, let's say they rely on this case, however, this and this and this. Or especially, I think, what makes something very powerful is when you listen to what your opponent says and actually find common ground, because then it shows you're not very hardcore for one side which is the opposing side, you're actually willing to concede and give some ground away, acknowledge a bit more. And I think that only boosts the strength of your arguments. So I think that's a very, very good lesson to take away to whether you do a legal debate or a moot court. I think when you acknowledge, it shows you as a more reasonable side. It's yeah, in the judge's eyes, you may seem a bit more open-minded, perhaps, and I think that's always a good thing. Anyway, I have been going on for a bit. I think, yeah, generally, I mean, I'm not going to give too much substantive feedback. I think the arguments were very good. I like the creativeness and everything. I also like the whole thing about the human rights aspects, about fundamental freedoms. I think, yeah, the whole thing about freedoms being restricted is very relevant in today's time and age. So very good that you refer to that. Personal autonomy, of course, people do not want to restrict their autonomy, have their autonomy restricted. So yeah, generally, I think it was a very, very impressive debate. So my conclusion would be, well, I would just want to thank you all for this very lovely debate. And I would also want to thank the organizers for having me, but also for this topic, which I thought was very, very interesting. And yeah, if there's some takeaways, signposting, you know, doing the firstly, secondly, thirdly. I have 3 main submissions. I will now turn to my second submission and my third submission. So signposting, then, you know, acknowledging, conceding where you can to the opposing side, and actually, you know, tackling the things head on. And I think pace. So speaking clearly, slowly, calmly, and I think you'll achieve greatness, so to speak. But anyway, that's all from my side. Sorry, I've been going on for a bit, but thank you.
No, thank you for sharing, and I believe it's quite valuable for everyone to hear it, be that the students on this debate or perhaps some students that are watching also other matches to prepare for their own. So it really is valuable, and we appreciate it greatly when the judges are joining us live and also able to give some feedback and tips to students. Of course, everyone can either not or deny, but this has been the experience so far, and perhaps you yourself as a former participant know it too. Without further ado, I just want to insert a short information in regards to networking. So in the final week, everyone is welcome in The Hague, of course. We have several activities planned. Hopefully some of them might be hybrid outside of the debates and this closing ceremony. But if you're considering traveling to the Netherlands for the final week, you'll have the opportunity to register for visits for international organizations that are in the city. And do not hesitate to reach out to us in case of travel options. We might be able to provide you some support in a way of discount code for Air France or KLM, who have supported the organization with some discounts for the traveling options. And for the actual networking that is happening during the matches, with a little twist on the ones that you've had during the group phase, I would just like to give you the floor perhaps to introduce either your law associations or specifically student associations that you participate in your university, and what are the activities that are perhaps typical for your university or your association, and perhaps introduce it to the other team. Starting with the University of Chile, whichever one of you would like to take the lead.
Here? Yes, we are part of the university's litigation society, and we are currently organizing a national moot court competition right now. So we have a lot of work these days. And our society is supported by the Bar Association and for the university. And the last year we had a courthouse visit, and this year we have lectures given by judges. The university is going to stay this year supporting us with a lot of with different kind of things. So we are trying to make of this society something more bigger.
Thank you for sharing. Ms. Perez, if there's anything also you would like to add?
Not much, just that I am very happy that all the projects of that society are coming along. The national tournament that my team made explain about started last year, and they are now working towards making it again. And I don't know, I feel like these instances are really fun because there are a lot of, I guess, organizations that can be done in terms of law and law students. So it's always fun to hear the experience of other people. And I would also like to know if the other team has participated in anything else, because all that we know is the tournaments and the events that happen in Chile, but I'm sure the experiences are very different in other countries. So yeah, I would like to hear a little bit how it's over there.
Thank you. And on that note, passing the floor to University of South Pacific's team with the same question. And what would be the student association or the law student association and its events that you would like to introduce to the other team?
Hi. So we recently revived our USP Law Students Association last year on May, because after COVID happened, since there was a extended period of lockdown, most of the law student executives who were in the third and final actually phased out. So for a good 3 years, there was no one running the association. So we decided to get it up and starting. So I'm in the student association in the capacity as a vice president. So we've been having a lot of fun activities actually. So for last year, we actually, in the beginning of the semester, we had law students get together. So this is basically a program where we have third and final year law students socializing with the first and second year. So building that network and, disseminating ideas and knowledge, which they can continue on once we phase out the seniors. We also had a moot competition as well. And it was very exciting because for the finals, it was actually held in the High Court of Suba, and it was presided by the acting Chief Justice, and two other very highly experienced High Court judges. So it was a very proud moment for USP right there. And just recently, last year we also had our Law Met Gala. So this is sort of like a ball event happens at the end of the day. We have a lot of lawyers, alumni, and as well as students coming and socializing. And we were able to get the acting Chief Justice to attend as well as the chief guest. So as for this year, since it's just the starting of the year, we had these parliament observations. So we had throughout last week, we had these groups. So a group of 15 or 20, they would just go and observe parliament sessions, actually see how the laws are made, the debating happening, the exchanges. So that was a very fun experience, no? Because studying law and actually see how the law is being made in front of you, it was a quite interesting experience. So I really thank our Law Student Association for that. And we have a lot of fun activities planned in the future as well, having an inter-tertiary moot competition. So in Fiji, we have 3 law universities, USP, the Fiji National University, the FNU, and the University of Fiji. So we are planning like having an inter-moot competition from USP. Obviously, our winners from last year's moot will participate. It's still in the works, but things definitely look good for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Exciting times ahead and also currently happening. Perhaps if your colleagues would also like to add anything, Ms. Lal or Ms. Prakash.
I think Varunesh has wrapped things up very well. So thank you.
Yeah, madam, he was very detailed, like perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. And sorry, just to add, we had auditions for this Hague debate as well. So we opened registrations, people registered, and they had to basically speak, and we had judges judging them, and the top 3 got selected, and here we are.
Right, that's lovely to hear. For both teams, if you would like to have official license for the events as well with the logo, just let us know. We do like to do collaboration with student associations, so do let us know if you would like some institutional support for the first semester of the Europeans Northern Hemisphere. First semester, we can provide some support for the universities if they wish to also do it with the logos. All right. Well, there is not much to add from my side beyond this, other than once again to congratulate everyone. Thank you, everyone, for participation. Thank you, Mr. Kazi. Thank you to all the other judges as well that will be watching this at a later time, or perhaps are watching right now on YouTube. Thank you to my colleague, Professor Lavange, and I wish you all the best for the week, and looking forward to sharing the results with you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
And goodbye.